get the axle grinder out, because that was a bit hairy watching the barrier repairs at the Norris Ring a few weeks ago in the rain. But this looks a little bit more controlled, and health and safety won't be having such a hissy fit this time.
They've all got high vises on.
They've got high vises on. And, well, they're still wearing shorts. But, yeah, happily they're not slipping over barriers like they were at the Norris Ring, where we had a few hearty mouth moments as we thought people were going to come to grief with the equipment. Anyway, no concern for the drivers. I think that will be sorted out fairly soon. Big crowd here at Spielberg, been flocking in to come and see the racing, and great to see such support. It was a big crowd yesterday as well for part of the DTM weekend, the DTM race today, but even yesterday on DTM qualifying with the sport races from Formula 3, the Porsches and the VW Sirocco R Cup. There was a good, healthy crowd. Poor Greek girls have been stood out there for about 35 or 40 minutes now with this delay. So forgive them if they don't look entirely enthusiastic about all of this. But anyway, they are in place. The drivers there now on the grid. Interestingly, on social media, Gustavo Menezes was posting last night that he'd actually set the second fastest time in qualifying. It then got stripped away from him because a number of drivers have had their best times taken away from them. Well, not their best times necessarily, but their times where they've exceeded the track limits. Then they've had those times taken away from them. And Menezes was one who said he was quick enough to be on the front row of the grid, but with that time taken away, he ended up being in 13th place. So the cars are on the grid. We're all set for the 23rd race of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship season. And we've got a full and healthy grid here, all lined up, ready for action here at the Red Bull Ring.
The FIA F3 European Championship with a heli shot of this phenomenal circuit that we're at here at the Red Bull Ring in the Styrian region of Austria, with mountains all around. It's one of the most majestic scenes and settings and backdrops for a racing circuit. There's a huge crowd here ready to enjoy the second of three FIA Formula 3 European Championship races here this weekend. Pole position goes the way of Antonio Giovinazzi for this race. The race has been delayed. The start has been delayed because of barrier repairs that have needed to be done following a collision in the earlier Porsche Carrera Cup race. So, as I said, Giovinazzi is on pole position, and alongside me, race commentator Chris Hartley.
Thanks, Dave. Dave Richardson alongside me in the box. And there's the man who, for the first time this season, starts the race on pole position. Antonio Giovinazzi, the Italian for the Gigonia IAM with Carlin Bat team, setting the fastest time the second qualifying session yesterday, off the back of a good result yesterday as well. He finished in the first race in second position, so got onto the podium for the second time this season. He was behind this man, his teammate Tom Blomqvist, who took his fourth race victory of the year with a very, very mature and competent drive. Tom Blomqvist, who in 2010 won the Formula Renault Championship in the UK as the youngest ever driver to do that when he was aged just 16. And there is the Austrian Lucas Auer, who had a disappointing qualifying session. Two qualifying sessions there are over the weekend. The first one sets the grid for race one. The second one sets the grid for races 2 and 3. Qualifying 1 didn't go well, and he only finished 10th in the race, but qualifying 2 did go well, and he then lines up on the second row of the grid in third position. He slipped to fourth in the championship behind Tom Blomqvist, though, after Blomqvist picked up maximum points for that win. Antonio Fuoco, the Italian driver from Maranello, of all places, just 17 years of old, backed by the Ferrari Driver Academy and the Ferrari Driver Academy boss, Luca Baldassari. They backed, of course, last year's champion, Raffaele Marciello, who romped to the championship title and beat this man to first place in the championship. Philip Rosenqvist, the Swedish driver, runner-up in the championship last year, coming into the season as hot favourite, but it's been a very mixed year for Felix so far this season, and the Swede only lying in 6th place in the standings with just the one win to his name, at Pau at the Pau Grand Prix. Big race to win, but he would have liked more. Esteban Ocon is the championship leader with a very healthy lead over Max Verstappen. He was on pole position yesterday for the 14th time this season, but it's very rare not to see him on the front row of the grid. He's only 6th on the grid for this one. So difficult day yesterday, particularly when going into the first corner. This man, Max Verstappen, ran into the back of him and sent him into a spin. Ocon dropped to the back of the field, wasn't able to recover enough to get into the points. Verstappen slipped to 6th place as a result of the contact. There was nothing malicious about it. He just saw a gap, went for it, clipped the curb, unfortunately, on the way into turn 1, just understeered into the right rear corner of Ocon. There wasn't too much damage to either car. And Verstappen recovered to 6th, then eventually recovered to 3rd, got onto the podium, and after the race, for another incident, when he passed Antonio Fuoco for position and gone off the track to do so, he was given a 5-second penalty. That put him back to 5th place, and it meant that coming up onto the podium was Jake Dennis. There's Jordan King, the British Formula 3 champion of last year. He didn't have a great day yesterday. Went off into the gravel on the final lap of the race and dropped down the order a little bit, so he finished in 9th place yesterday. Good day yesterday for Jake Dennis. Jake finishing on the podium. We didn't get to see him, unfortunately, on the podium, or the main podium. He did finish on the rookie podium anyway, but he was, as I say, promoted from 4th to 3rd at the end of the race to pick up from the 3rd place finishes he secured at Pau and at Spa. So Jake Dennis moving up into 7th place in the championship standings. And good, Dave, to see this man back. Ed Jones, he's missed 3 events after a back injury picked up at Pau.
Yes, it is great to see him back. He didn't have a brilliant race yesterday, did he, to be fair? But just to see him back on the grid is superb to see the United Arab Emirates-based Ed Jones back on the grid from his injury. And we see Tatiana Calderon is P11 and Gustavo Menezes is P12. And it's Van der Laar, Galil, Nissani, Latifi, Sorales, Toril, Spike Goddard, Ferrucci, Shimkoviak. Shimkoviak had a flying moment in the race yesterday, didn't he?
Just a little bit, yeah. He was almost tipped over, got hit and right up onto 2 wheels. Luckily, there was a sigh of relief when he righted. It went back the right way and landed on all 4 wheels. Wasn't too much consolation because unfortunately he was unable to finish the race as a result of that. So, yeah, difficult day for the former motocross racer, the Dutch driver. Difficult day for Ed Jones as well, as you said, coming back after this back injury. He raced in British Formula 3 just to get his eye in last weekend and showed pretty good speed in the car, but unfortunately the car got stuck in gear and fairly early in the race he had to go into the pits and then he lost an awful lot of time, so he wasn't classified, didn't pick up any points. Ed Jones, who's arguably the United Arab Emirates' most successful driver ever already, the Dubai-based driver. So there's the front row of the grid. Antonio Giovinazzi, the Italian, will start the race from pole position. He's there on the right as they go off into the formation lap. Tom Blomqvist to the left, both for Jagonia IM. And then it's the KFZ Tyler 24 Muka Motorsport driver, Lucas Auer, who will start 3rd. Muka Motorsport, who 10 years ago ran a certain young Sebastian Vettel to the Formula BMW Championship title. Vettel, somebody who also raced for Carlin, who ran a number of hugely successful drivers over the years who've gone on to race in Formula 1. Daniel Ricciardo being one of them.
The number of drivers that have come from the championship, as you say, it's phenomenal, isn't it? And something that you and I have said on many occasions as the cars are out on their formation lap is that arguably this is the most competitive grid that we have ever seen in the FIA F3 European Championship, littered with talent.
Absolutely right. It was 50 years ago that Formula 3 became the category in which to progress to Formula 1, took over from Formula Junior in the UK, which had had that status up until that point, as we see confirmation of the top 10 on the grid, and huge list of names that have come through Formula 3 before going on to race in Formula 1, and I have no doubt, we've said it a number of times this year, that there are a number of drivers on the track today that we're going to see in Grand Prix racing in the not too distant future. We've got one newcomer to the championship this weekend, the Mexican Alfonso Celis, who's there 22nd on the grid, run by Richard Dutton's Fortec team. Richard Dutton himself, Richard Dutton's Fortec team, multiple Formula Renault champions and very successful single-seater category champions. But Richard's a pretty good driver himself, and he was on the podium at the Silverstone Classic last weekend, racing the old Lotus Cortina in an under 2-litre touring car race. So he had a good time of it. Neil Brown, who prepares engines as well for the series, was out in a Ford Mustang, which were pretty spectacular to watch. Watch those back ends of those cars flinging around Silverstone. Of course, the meeting tempered by the sad news that we lost the life of Dennis Welch, and huge condolences to his family and friends.
There's the track then, 4.3 kilometres, and well, it's going to be 24 laps now. It's only 8 corners here, and it is a bit of a roller coaster of a circuit, Chris, isn't it? The track limits seem to be exceeded, mostly turn 1 and turn 8. And from turn 1, it's then quite a long straight with a kink in the middle as they head up towards the Remus turn 2. And it is very, very uphill. In fact, that Remus turn, it's almost in 2 parts, the uphill section, isn't it?
Well, I walked up to turn 2 yesterday. I'd even go so far as to say, Dave, I got slightly out of breath when I got to the top of it. It's a real steep. It's halfway up the mountain. So, yeah, huge amounts of torque needed. Most importantly, a good run out of turn 1 is required. It's an uphill start into turn 1 as well. You can see it. It's a real climb up there. Turn 8 coming out is a downhill run, and very easy to run wide there and understeer wide through the final turn 8, the Red Bull Mobile.
We're await the green flag, which is waved now from the marshal, about to get this race underway then for the FIA Formula 3 European Championship.
OK then, for the first time this season, Giovinazzi is on pole to the right of the picture. Can he make it into the lead at turn 1? Blomqvist, yesterday's race winner, gets a good start, but Giovinazzi's got him surely. And then we've got Antonio Fuoco there trying to get up the inside of Lucas Auer for 3rd place. He's still trying on the way into the Castrol Edge curve. Auer runs out of road, so he has to go really out wide there. That then launches him into an attack on Tom Blomqvist. And they're going to be side by side on the run up towards the second turn at Remus for 2nd place here, which is all helping Giovinazzi out as they climb up now to that corner. It's going to be 3 abreast. Fuoco at the inside. Blomqvist is a sandwich in the middle. Auer around the outside. He got just behind Felix Rosenquist trying to get in the mix as well, but Blomqvist has fended them off. Fuoco comes through into 3rd place. So Antonio Fuoco, the Italian, comes through to 3rd position. Another very quick rookie here. And the one that lost out then, going out wide, was Lucas Auer. So he couldn't quite stay within the top 3. And now we've got Fuoco going at the inside of Blomqvist on the way into the Rauch curve, and he goes 2nd. And there's a moment there further back from Sean Galal, number 20, who locks up under braking and loses a place on the way out of the corner as they go down into the left-hander at Pirelli now. Back downhill now for the rest of the lap. There's the number 5 car of Jordan King getting in the mix inside the top 10. So it is Giovinazzi that leads. In 2nd place, it's Fuoco. In 3rd position, then we've got Blomqvist. And then we've got Rosenquist up to 4th. Ocon has come up to 5th place. And Lucas Auer was the one who got forced out wide at Remus, has dropped down to 6th position. And behind him, it's none other than Max Verstappen, who has won so far this season in his first year of car racing, 7 wins, including 6 on the bounce at Spa and the Norris Ring. So a pretty good clean start here. Giovinazzi is going to be more than a second clear, Dave, at the end of lap 1.
Absolutely remarkable start from Giovinazzi. And thankfully, everyone through turn 1 without too much of an issue. It was just Gustavo Menezes that had a bit of a lock-up earlier, the opening lap round turn 1. So they all head up for the second time of asking towards turn 2 now, the Remus turn. 26 cars on the grid for the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. Here is Ocon at the inside of Rosenquist. Lucas Auer, his teammate's going to have a go as well. Just behind them, that's Jordan King now trying to get alongside Jake Dennis. The pair of the British drivers absolutely running together here. The former Intersteps champion, Jake Dennis, in the red, white and blue car up against the all-blue Carling car. The Carling teammates, of course, and of Jordan King. Jordan King has to relent, though. Jake Dennis has gone through. Now Ed Jones, another of the Carling drivers, trying to get at the inside of the American Gustavo Menezes. And we have lost Roy Nassani from the race. So Roy Nassani, who had a pretty decent race yesterday, lost the back end and just kisses the barrier, I think, but he's okay. He's beached. They're trying to get him back on the track, and well done, marshals. They've done so. Whether the car will head for the pits or whether it'll carry on, I'm not sure. So good start for Ocon, up to 4th place for the championship leader, and of course he's ahead of his nearest points rival. He didn't pick up any points himself yesterday, only for the 4th time this season out of 22 races. That's Verstappen running very wide and then going ultra defensive as he comes across the start-finish line here to try and hang on to his place, trying to hang on to his 8th place here. And Jordan King is going to come past him. He's already lost the place to Jake Dennis, who's now up to 7th position. King goes up to 8th, and Verstappen having a difficult start to the race here, down in 9th place. But we know, Dave, that he's a very good racer. And when you were speaking to ex-Formula 1 racer and father, Jos Verstappen, yesterday, he was saying that when they were karting, as he goes for a move, just to illustrate the point, trying to go around the outside here. Well, there you go. Oh! King goes into a spin as a result of it. I'm not sure there was any contact. No.
I think he was just on the wrong line, on the tight line there, and he got on the power, and the back end snapped around. We'll have I'm sure, on a replay, Well, I'm not entirely sure.
There's damage,
there
though.
is contact because the front right corner has collapsed in. So it's becoming a really difficult weekend, this, for Jordan King, who's been a very competitive driver this season and on the podium a number of times, 4 times this season. And it was where he hit the curb. It's the front right, not the left.
You're right.
So it was where he hit the curb. That's where the damage was. So I don't think there was any contact with Verstappen. He just ran out of the road. That's how it all started, wasn't it, Dave?
That was Verstappen's mistake, wasn't it? He ran out wide there, and as you say, that's where it started.
And then he got a hit himself from Dennis.
We didn't see that live, did we?
There we go. Jake turned across at him. Not sure you knew that Max was there.
Safety car is out. I'm not surprised by that. Where that car was parked, it was almost inevitable.
Yeah, there he is. Jordan King out of the race. Real disappointment for him. Big hard curb there up on the inside, isn't it? And he just hit it as he tried to defend his position. I was about to say, before all of that kicked off, that when you're speaking to Jos Verstappen, father of Max, he was saying to us that what we were saying, how much we didn't mind his overtaking, the way he tried to overtake in different parts of the circuit where you wouldn't normally expect it. And he's done that a number of times this season. And Jos was saying to you that that's something they very much deliberately practiced. He made him go out and try different things when they were racing in cars and try to pass in places where it wasn't expected.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's we've seen on many occasions this season. It's pretty non-conformist, isn't he, when it comes to the rules with regards to these are the 2 places you can overtake. Well, actually, no. I will have a go anywhere, and it generally works for him, doesn't it? Here's a replay of the start.
Really good start from Giovinazzi, this, given it's his first pole of the season. He had it beautifully, didn't he? Flocco also made a good start from the second row of the grid. But everybody was pretty clean on the way into turn 1. Meneses has a big lock-up. Scrubbed some rubber off his tyre. But Flocco at the inside there. Lucas Auer, it was really as a result of this that up at turn 2, the Austrian was then sort of hung out to dry. Like, he has to go out wide here, he has to go off the track. There's nowhere else for him to go. And then they all start queuing up behind him. And then Auer out wide there at turn 2, and he had the likes of his teammate Felix Rosenqvist coming up the inside of him.
This was a hairy moment.
Yeah, this is 3 abreast, and it's Auer right on the outside there. Look at Felix Rosenqvist, dives at the inside, takes the better line. Ocon follows him through, and Auer, despite the fact he got back on the track, it was too late. They got through by then. Lock up as well from the number 3 car of Lucas Auer. So, safety car out as a result of Jordan King,
Van der Laar is under investigation for a jump start, and also a black and white flag being issued to car number 30, Max Verstappen, for more than one change of direction.
Yeah. Okay. Stewards have been keeping an eye on Max this weekend, haven't they?
A bit.
Well, he got it. I mean, it's a great move, in all honesty, here to get around the outside of Jordan King, and Jordan just ran out of road. But it was an audacious, brave move from Max Verstappen there. I don't think that's what they're investigating. I think what they're investigating is the incident on the start-finish straight where he came together with Jake Dennis after making the mistake through the final turn. I think that's probably the change of direction you're talking about, or maybe on the build-up to that run into turn 2, but not the move itself, I don't think. So, Giovinazzi leads, Fuoco second, Italians first and second, Blomqvist, the British driver, in third, Ocon, the Frenchman, fourth, Rosenqvist in fifth place. Rosenqvist, who won all 3 races at this circuit last year. And then Lucas Auer, the Austrian, 6th, Jake Dennis, the British driver, 7th, Max Verstappen from the Netherlands in 8th, Gustavo Meneses from the United States of America in 9th, and Ed Jones in the top 10, the UAE driver.
Safety car going to be in this lap, so Giovinazzi got to do it all over again, hasn't he? In terms of backing them up and then trying to get a flyer of a start, because Antonio Fuoco surely at this stage will sniff the opportunity of being able to be on terms with Giovinazzi. Gifted to him by the safety car out, but safety car coming back in now, and we will be back and racing. Tom Blomqvist will look to be able to make a charge here as well now from this restart.
Giovinazzi looking for his first win of the season, following on from that second place finish yesterday. Antonio Fuoco had a win in the opening weekend of the season at Silverstone. Tom Blomqvist in third place has had 4 wins now this year, and Esteban Ocon, the championship leader in the black car in 4th place, has had 8 wins and 10 further podiums so far this season as the race gets back underway and they climb up towards the Castrol Edge curve. No change inside the top 4. Ocon under a bit of pressure from Rosenquist, and now the 2 Muka Motorsport drivers. Also got Sean Galal going pretty well for Muka Motorsport in 12th place at the moment, looking to get up into the points if he possibly can. So a nice tidy restart this as they go up into Remus. There you can see just the huge climb that we've got here in this circuit. And then Max Verstappen, who now try and fight his way back up the order. Out wide there is Nicholas Latifi, the Montreal-based driver who didn't finish the race yesterday. And he had a spin early on, and then he was the one that ran into the side of Jules Simkowiak, and tipped him onto his side as Ed Jones goes up the inside to defend his position from aforementioned Dennis van der Laar, the number 26 car. Dennis had a decent run through from 13th to 8th in the race yesterday. And an interesting chat with Dennis about the super smooth nature of this circuit. And he was saying that even in qualifying, we've seen at other circuits, the Hankook tyres have a sweet spot of 2 or 3 laps in qualifying where you can get the times. But he said it was almost like a full race session because they just stayed and stayed and stayed. The durability of the tyres around this circuit is pretty impressive, and it's only at the end of the sessions when the tyres are still good, the fuel load is a bit lighter, that the quicker times were coming. So the tyre degradation is very, very good around this circuit, Dave.
Yes. So Giovinazzi from Fuoco. Giovinazzi already a 1.1 second margin over Fuoco. Then it's Blomqvist P3. Ocon is P4. Rosenquist, our Dennis Verstappen. Then it's Meneses. And Jones rounding out the top 10. It's the way it looks at the moment as they head once again up to that Remus turn, that long uphill stint before you get to the Remus turn, where, as we see, Jules Simkowiak on the back there of Alexander Toril.
Yeah, Alex Toril in the white car. His brother Miguel is a pretty accomplished GT racer. Mom and Dad were also involved in motorsport as rally drivers. And a bit of contact wasn't there with Sean Galal. Oh, there's definitely contact there as Felix Sorales is bumped off. It was Latifi, wasn't it, that made contact with the wheels and sent Felix Sorales, the Puerto Rican, off into the gravel. He escaped being stuck in the gravel, but he's lost an awful lot of places as a result of that. Going to get a replay of this now. It was contact just ahead of them, and then Latifi, well, he got through. He wasn't banging wheels deliberately there. He got the inside line, and it was the back wheels that touched as he tried to come through. They almost interlocked, didn't they, the wheels? Yep. So although I think we can all agree Latifi was at fault for the Simkowiak incident yesterday, which I think was born out of frustration more than anything else as he tried to work his way back through the field. That one, although they might look at it, the officials, I think it was completely deliberate. He went for the move and just clipped on the way past. Although, similar incident, wasn't there, at the Norris Ring when Ocon passed Blomqvist and clipped him on the way past. Blomqvist, who was hugely unlucky that weekend.
Yes.
His race was ruined. It was nothing, I don't think, deliberate about it, but Ocon still got a drive-through penalty. So what's this space? And Sorales is coming to the pits now, run by the West Tech team, who've won 3 Formula 3 Europe Open titles and multiple titles in things like Formula Ford. And oh dear, Sorales out of the car. So, but it's a struggle this weekend. He hasn't quite had the pace for whatever reason. So the Puerto Rican is out of contention. At the head of the field, though, Antonio Giovinazzi, he's pulled 1.3 seconds clear now. Just then it was Tatiana Calderon who was rubbing wheels, and then this incident straight after, straight behind. And damage to the I think, front right suspension, isn't it, that's brought him back in.
From that camera angle, it did look like Latifi had got some understeer, didn't it?
Yeah.
And, well, shame to see Felix Sorales out, the Team Westec driver.
Yeah.
So Giovinazzi having a great time for here. 1.3 second margin over Antonio Fuoco. Then it's Tom Blomqvist and Esteban Ocon. Felix Rosenquist. Well, last time around, Fuoco just took a 10th out of Giovinazzi's time.
Yeah, set the fastest lap of the race, actually, didn't he? Antonio Fuoco, the 125.700, but it was only 30 thousandths quicker as, oh dear, off the road and into strife. That's, where's that, turn 1, isn't it?
Yes,
Castrol Edge. And that is Dennis van der Laar, who, let's see what caused that. Did he get a little tap on the way in? Yeah, or not quite, there wasn't contact. He went for a move, then tried to back out of it, I think. and as he hit the brakes hard and turned in at the same time, the back end snapped away. So Dennis van der Laar, sort of a half attempt up the inside of Sean Galal there. It wasn't going to let him through. And so Dennis goes into a spin. Admitted to making one or two little tiny mistakes in the race yesterday. Nothing like that, but felt there was a bit more pace in him. But Dennis still learning the way. But the Prema Power Team driver down the order now, and with no chance of points. So Giovinazzi leads by 1.2 seconds. Antonio Fuoco, he's there in second place. The 19-year-old leads, the 17-year-old in second place. Another great karting pedigree as well, former KF3 Masters champion, Antonio Fuoco. And then you've got Tom Blomqvist there in third place now.
So we've got safety car deployed. We've also got drive-through penalty for a man that we didn't mention much yesterday, Spike Goddard.
Yes.
Failing to manage track limits, which just proves the point that, you know, there will be warnings and then you know, penalties will be dished out. To be fair, I think it's the first penalty we've seen for track limits, isn't it?
Awful lot of warnings.
Yeah.
And we've seen in qualifying drivers having time stripped away from them. Gustavo Meneses one such case. Reckon he was would have been second on the grid for this had he not had his lap where he exceeded track limits taken away from him. So Goddard, the Australian, comes in, the 21-year-old from Sydney. Former British Formula 3 national class champion, slightly older cars 2 years ago. And, well, he wasn't in the points anyway, but now that's compounded his problems. So while they try and move Dennis van der Laar's stricken car for the second time in this race, the safety car is out. And Dennis van der Laar will have one more crack at this afternoon to try and pick up some more points. Currently lying outside the top 10 in the championship. Best result for him so far this year, 5th place at Pau. And another look at this. Yeah, just trying a move, didn't quite pull it off, and as he got on the brakes super hard, and he was turning in at the same time, it was too much for the car to take. The balance was all upset, and out he went. Also carrying the tribute to the MH17 airline. So Dennis van der Laar walks away. I don't think there'll be any damage to the car though, so it should be okay for race 3 later on today.
Yeah. Safety car's going to be in this lap. They're standing by with the green flag ready to send them away again. And the second time of asking, Giovinazzi's going to have to do it all over again, isn't he? Yeah.
Every time he builds a gap, the safety car comes out. Look at Rosenquist looking pretty feisty in the orange number 27 Muka Motorsport car. But leading the way, it's Giovinazzi. Leading them away from Fuoco. The VW-powered car ahead of the Mercedes car, and it's the VW power of Blomqvist. And then look at this battle for 4th place, Ocon and Rosenquist. I could see that Rosenquist was itching at the bit to get through at the safety car. Oh! There's contact, and the championship leader is sent off at turn 1 for the second time this weekend. Yesterday it was from a tap from Verstappen. Today it's Rosenquist, but again he keeps it out of the barriers. Again he fires it back up, and again he'll have to try and charge through the field. It's turning into, by a long way, his worst weekend of the season as Jake Dennis fires one up the inside now, and that's going to put him up to 5th place. So Dennis goes into 5th position as he makes a move there. Lucas Sauer dropping down the road. In fact, that was on Verstappen who'd been trying to get along. I think Verstappen had got his nose in front. They crossed the line with Dennis ahead, but Verstappen got his nose in front on the run out of turn 1. Dennis got him back going into turn number 2. So Giovinazzi, Fuoco, Blomqvist will be the top 3. Did Rosenquist survive all of that in 4th? I think he did. No, it'd be Auer in 4th place, wouldn't it? Rosenquist would have dropped back a bit more. We're going to see a replay of the incident now. Rosenquist had a couple of lacklustre restarts at the Norris Ring a few weekends ago.
But you rightly called. You said Rosenquist looked itching, didn't he? And, well, as they head up the uphill section now into turn 1.
He's trying around the outside. There's just no room.
I just wonder whether Ocon moved across him a little bit there. Let's see it from this angle.
Well, he did squeeze him. Rosenquist didn't have anywhere to go, but around the outside, there's always that risk, isn't there? So, racing incident, really. But, yeah, Ocon did just close the gap a little bit there. And into the pits has come the number 9 machine of Alfonso Celis, meanwhile, so the Mexican in. And another incident here with Hector Hurst, who had dramas in qualifying yesterday, and Roy Nissany coming together.
Yeah.
Hector Hurst had a decent race yesterday, but in qualifying the car stopped, which caused a delay in qualifying. And Rosenquist is out as well, probably. almost certainly as a result of damage. After the Ocon incident, Ocon has come into the pits as well.
And interestingly, Ocon is under investigation.
Is this a drive-through? Is he heading for the pit box? Pit box. I don't think he's going to get any points anyway, whether or not he's under investigation. But there's always the opportunity of applying penalties to grid positions and so forth, isn't there? So, steering wheel off. I think he's out of the race. Rosenqvist is definitely out of the race. It's been a miserable season, really, hasn't it, for Felix Rosenqvist? Yes. Car was just not set up at the start of the year. Really struggled at Silverstone. The high-speed turns there. Only just in the middle of the season started to get things together. He got pole at the Norris Ring and things looked a bit rosier, but that wasn't a terrific weekend for him, not from where it started. So it means that Giovinazzi leads, Fuoco is second, Blomqvist is third. That much remains the same. Auer is now fourth, Dennis is now up to fifth, Verstappen sixth, Meneses is up to seventh, Jones 8th, Latifi 9th, and Sean Galal is in the points in 10th place, and Alex Tyrrell is almost in the points in 11th place. Tyrrell looking for his first championship point of the season, the young Spaniard. He needs one more place. Hector Hurst is in the pits, but going back out now. Fuoco there in second place. He's falling away from the leader, but he's got enough in hand at the moment over Blomqvist to look relatively comfortable in second place, Dave.
Yes, and just looking at Verstappen down there in 6th place, of course, really wants to max his points haul when we've got no points being scored by the championship leader Esteban Ocon, and Verstappen now really needs to turn the wick up, doesn't he, to try and max out his opportunity in this race in particular, to just narrow that gap between himself and Ocon at the top of the points, as we're watching Tom Blomqvist. And there is Lucas Auer then, the Case Tyler Muka Motorsport car.
Slight mistake through rail curve understeering for Tom Blomqvist, which is why he's dropped back quite a bit from Antonio Fuoco and almost into the clutches of Lucas Auer now. So Giovinazzi leads by the same sort of margin, 1.3 seconds. Fuoco now is 1.5 seconds clear of Blomqvist, who in turn is about 7/10 clear of Lucas Auer, trying to get up onto the podium. Then it's Dennis, who's the next driver through. So that's the way it stands at the moment. Fuoco is the leading rookie. And the next best rookie is Jake Dennis in 5th position, then Max Verstappen, 3rd best of the rookies, currently lying in 6th position in the race. But looking to close the gap for the 2nd time running this weekend onto the points leader, Esteban Ocon. It's a big gap that he's got. Ocon started today with 379 points. It's 106 points more than Verstappen. And Verstappen's 8 points up if it stays like this, so still going to have a healthy margin. He's got this breathing space, but I won't want too many more weekends like this. Touch at the tail end of the points finishes here. Latifi's 10th and in the points. Alex Tyrrell is trying to get his first points of the season, though. He's not going to want to finish 11th here, is he? You might as well go for it. 11th, 12th, 15th, doesn't matter really. You're not going to get any points. If you can change up and get into 10th, then maybe he's got a chance, but you've got Simkoviak behind him. And the youngest driver in the field, the 16-year-old Santino Ferrucci there in the number 29 car. And he came into the championship midway through the year because he was too young at the start of the season. Comes from Connecticut. Tremendous record of wet racing as well. He's been unbeaten for a number of years in wet races and at the Norris Ring. And his first time at that circuit, he was very, very good, wasn't he, in the wet conditions, the damp conditions that we had at that circuit. And managed in only his 2nd weekend of Formula 3 racing to get a 4th and a 5th place. Doesn't look like he's going to get any of the wet stuff today, though. It's a bit misty at the start of the day, but it's heating up nicely. So there is Tyrrell, number 12, trying to get 10th place away from Nicholas Latifi and the Prema Power Team cars, carrying the number 1 because the team won the championship with their man Raffaele Marciello last year. That one goes Ferrucci as Jules Simkoviak tries to come alongside him. That's the corner where Jules got tipped up onto 2 wheels yesterday. But racing drivers don't think about things like that. They just think about racing. And Simkoviak's going to have a go into the rail curve here and will get the place away from Ferrucci. So Jules Simkoviak with a good move there to hold on to 12th place for the time being, at least.
Yes.
Ferrucci's having to go back here, isn't he?
Yes, a feisty battle here, isn't it? So at the moment, Jules Simkoviak has his own way, but Ferrucci is certainly sticking with him. Just over half distance through this race that's been affected by safety cars. The race being led by Giovinazzi, who now has a 1.7 margin over Antonio Fuoco. So looking very comfortable, Antonio Giovinazzi out front.
Santino Ferrucci, the young American, with terrific karting pedigree. Got some top 5 finishes in FIA F3 European Championship races when he came over to race in Europe. He also raced in the British Super 1 Championship and won a race despite never having been at the circuit, never having done any pre-season testing. And he got spotted by a certain Martin Whitmarsh, who has been keeping an eye on him and invited him onto the McLaren Young Driver Scheme. So it's certainly a talent. This is very much a learning curve for him. Of course, having missed the start of the season, did some pre-season tests, one of which was here at the start of the season, wasn't it? But wasn't able to race until we got to Spa. Oh, that's a big one. And that is number 17, Sandro Zella, who's gone through the picture and into the barriers has gone Spike Goddard. Wheel missing, driver looks okay. And, Sandro Zella didn't get very far. I thought he carried on, but he got just out of the picture and then stopped. And so for the 3rd time, safety car comes out. Our record so far this season is at the Norris Ring, where we had 4 in one race. And this is up at Remus, up at turn 2. So he's already been for a drive-through penalty, hasn't he, Spike Goddard? Trying to work his way back up through the order. Sandro Zella, son of multiple Swiss Formula 3 champion Joe Zella, who runs the team, walks away. Both drivers, importantly, are okay. The cars require a bit of work before the final race of the weekend this afternoon, though.
Yeah, very much so. So we'll get a replay of that incident, doubtless, in just a moment. Safety car deployed yet again as we see Sandro Zella walking away over the barriers and have a conversation, I suspect, with Spike Goddard over that.
Yeah, paramedics want to make sure they're all right first, which they're saying they are, which is good. There's Goddard there to the right. Right, what happened? Goddard to the right, Zella to the left. Zella just clipping the grass there. Both going for the same corner. And clattered wheels before they actually got to the turning point there.
And then that was when Zella got involved, wasn't it? Because it was a Muka Motorsport car that Spike was alongside.
Didn't touch in a Calderon. No, Roy Nissani. Roy Nissani it was.
Another flying incident at turn 2.
Zella completely unlucky with all that, wasn't he? It was nothing to do with him.
No.
So it was, banging wheels with Roy Nissani as he tried to go through. Oof. And then launched up into the air. And you can see the safety of these cars is excellent, the FIA standards, and the tethers on the wheels there, yes, keeping that wheel from bouncing away. Look how much he got launched there. And Zella was lucky he didn't go over the top of his car. So Sandro Zella, the complete victim in all of that. And it's just a bit clumsy, wasn't it? As he tried to get at the inside. Yeah. He had a bit more room than that, I think, to get at the inside. Clattered wheels with Nissani. Nissani kept going. And Zella out of the race because he's got damaged front right wheel there. Probably countless other bits of damage as well. So that was all pretty spectacular. The Australian out of contention. Swiss driver out of contention. And I'm sorry, says Spike Goddard, well, to be fair to him. Yeah.
Fair play to him. You're absolutely right. I mean, Zella was just in the wrong place at the wrong time there, wasn't he? It's good that you noticed, and I agree that the safety of these cars, those tethers worked really, really well and held onto that wheel, didn't they, from the flying Spike Goddard car. No surprises that incident is under investigation. The incident between Spike Goddard and Roy Nissani.
Yeah. I'm not sure Roy did a great deal wrong there either. He didn't move across, did he? I don't think. It's just a bit unfortunate. Well, every time again, Giovinazzi gets away, they close up to him with the safety car. But he has controlled things. He's had some good
every
restarts.
Time he's managed it, hasn't he? He's done well.
Yeah. So it is Antonio Giovinazzi that leads. 2 second-place finishes so far this season for the young Italian. He's only 9th in the championship. He's had pretty consistent point-scoring finishes. The first half of the season, he was more often than not in the points. And had a second place in the second round at Hockenheim. But it took then until yesterday before he got his second visit to the podium. But it's certainly been his most competitive weekend of the season so far. Giovinazzi doing a very good job. Raced in the Euro F3 Championship with Double R Racing last year. And was second in the British Formula 3 Championship with a couple of wins at Silverstone and at Spa.
Right, Giovinazzi needs to back them up again now because the safety car is coming in this lap. Credit to the marshals who've dealt with everything fairly quickly, haven't they? And ensured that we get back to racing as fast as possible. So, Giovinazzi with it all to do again. Behind him, Foucault, Blomqvist, Auer, Dennis, Verstappen, Menezes, Jones, and then it is Sean Galil. And, well, we'll see as we're about to get this race back underway.
It's the final points battle as well. Number one there, Latifi in the final points paying position in 10th, thanks to Rill in the all-white number 12 car, the 3-1 car right behind him. Okay then, Giovinazzi has been given a bit of a heads up here by Antonio Fuoco in the number 25 car. He says, right, I'm going to try something here. I'm going to try and stay with you. He's backed them up again though, and then accelerated away again, and perfect. He's given himself 3 or 4 lengths advantage as he comes out of the Red Bull Mobile curve over the start-finish line, and the race gets back underway at full throttle. 0.8 of a second is advantage as he crossed the line. What about Blomqvist though in 3rd place? He's got closer now to the tail of Fuoco. This is good news for him because he made that slight mistake a couple of laps before the safety car came out, which dropped him back away from Fuoco. Lucas Auer will be absolutely desperate to get up onto the podium, and of course Lucas is battling for 3rd place in the championship with the man that's just ahead of him, Tom Blomqvist. But he doesn't quite seem to have the pace of Tom, does he, at the moment? And here we go. Battles a bit further down the order. This is Jules Simkoviak coming under pressure now from John Bright-Meissner in the blue and yellow car. The Swedish driver has to go out wide, though. There's no way through there. And good little battle going on there in the orange car. The Muka Motorsport run car, Calderon, in the 15th place there. Trying to find her way through as well. And Ferrucci has dropped back, hasn't he? He's the one that's dropped back in all this. Lost 2 or 3 places, Santino Ferrucci. So, meanwhile, that is Jake Dennis in the red, white and blue car. Number 28 running 5th, Max Verstappen in the Van Amersfoort run car, trying to get past him. Van Amersfoort who run Max Verstappen and ran his father, Jos Verstappen, back in his days of Formula Opel racing before he entered the German Formula 3 Championship, in which he was a front runner and a race winner. We've still got Latifi hanging on to the final spot. Oh, Hector Hurst has gone back out and he's trying to make his way back up through the field. Roy Nissani's coming under attack for this time. It is from the number 8 car of the Italian Michele Beretta. His brother, as I said yesterday, is a very competitive downhill ski racer for Italy. Drive-through penalty for Giovinazzi, the race leader. For infringement of safety car rules. That's what's coming up on the screen. Infringement of safety car rules has got to be to do with the amount of distance that he left back to the safety car. He certainly did. Obviously, it's not an overtaking infringement because he was already at the front. So, oh dear. So the win is going to go away from him. He's not even going to get on the podium here. He's probably not going to get in the points actually, because they're all bunched together, and it means that Antonio Fuoco will pick up the lead of the race and will be on for his 2nd win of the campaign here. His 1st since the opening weekend at Silverstone, as Jules Simkoviak puts a nice move up the inside of Alex Tyrrell at Rauchkurve. So that now means that Latifi in the number 1 car will be clean away from them in 10th place. But it could well be that Simkoviak has just got himself a point-scoring position there because it's for 11th. But when Giovinazzi comes in for his drive-through, I'm sure he's going to drop out of the top 10. So that was an important move from Jules Simkoviak to get up into the points.
Giovinazzi choosing to stay out and to take it within 3 laps of being advised of that drive-through penalty. But we're down to time now because of the safety cars that we've had. We've only got 2.5 minutes left to run.
It's 2 laps to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to have to do it on the last lap. He's doing the right thing. Stay out as long as you can and try and build up the gap. And then the more you can do that, the higher up the order you're going to re-emerge. But I just don't think it's going to help him get in the points, I'm afraid. So absolutely galling for Giovinazzi. As Max Verstappen's got past Jake Dennis, got Menezes in the silver and yellow car trying to get there as well. Ned Jones just behind in the blue Carling car in the mix. Sean Galal having another good run here, running in the points now in 9th place. Sean's picked up quite a series of points here.
Dennis has got an issue, surely.
Yeah, he's dropped back again, hasn't he, coming out of the corner. So Jake Dennis, yes, he's got a problem. He's slowing, I'm afraid. So Jake Dennis has been passed by Jones. Now he's been passed by Sean Galal. And his car has got an issue here. So the Carling car is just about I think, going to drop out of the points any second now. Yeah, Latifi's come through. Oh, what a shame for Jake Dennis, who's been very consistent this year in terms of finishes. He hasn't always been in the points, but he's only actually had a couple of DNFs this year. And that is the man who leads the race, but won't win it, I'm afraid, because he's going to have to serve a drive-through penalty. As that's Beretta going through the gravel. Oh! And hitting the bumps as well as he tried to rejoin. So Michele Beretta not going to get any points either. Minute to go. So this is going to be the final lap of the race because it takes 1 minute and 25 seconds to get around. So Giovinazzi's either going to incur the wrath of the officials by staying out and taking the checkered flag, or he's going to come in and cross the line in the pits and serve his drive through that way. And we'll see what comes of that. If he does that, he would cross the line within the top 10, surely. Jake Dennis into the pits and out of the race, and the big hope is they can get that car sorted for this. Now, this is why it's the gap back, I'm sure of it, isn't it? Sebastian Vettel in Formula 1 got told off for this a few years ago, and I think he's just left too much of a gap between the safety car and him, and that's why he's been given this drive-through penalty, which is going to scupper his maiden victory of the season. So Giovinazzi has shown what he can do in terms of pace and controlling races, but he's made an error there. Not in his driving, but in his judgment of the pace behind the safety car. So it was the safety cars that scuppered him in the end, despite the fact that he'd had pretty good restarts.
Yes.
Unlucky, but rules are the rules, and the drivers need to know them. And well, he's got to come into the pits and serve a drive-through penalty, or he's not going to do it. No, he's not going to do it. So he's going to take the flag. He's going to take the checkered flag, but Giovinazzi, he's not going to win. I don't think he knows, actually. He's punching the air. I don't think he knows about this drive-through. He hasn't seen the board, has he?
Just wonder whether the team had appealed it.
Maybe. Still up on the screen. Drive-through penalty, infringement of safety car rules, car number 19. It's not been taken off the screen. So maybe the team have said, look, just stay out, because if you come in, you're not going to get any points. If you stay out, we appeal it, then maybe we can keep this win. Well, I genuinely don't think he knows, because he's punched the air.
You're right.
So focused on what he's doing. So Antonio Fuoco there might well pick up the win. I'm sure it's going to be him. They'll send up onto the top step of the podium. That'll be his second of the season. And either way, good drive from Antonio Fuoco. And
Giovinazzi has dropped off the screen now.
So Blomqvist promoted to second, and Lucas Auer up to third, which is what he wanted, a podium in his home country.
And of course, what that also does, it propels Verstappen up to P4, doesn't it? Which means he just gets narrows the margin with Esteban Ocon not finishing.
12 points he'll pick up for that.
Yep.
So Antonio Fuoco is the race winner, despite crossing the line in second place. And yeah, as I say, good drive from him, even though he didn't take the checkered flag. He had a difficult mid-season. Antonio, I said a couple of times, he got off like a rocket at Silverstone with a win, a third and a fourth. He got another podium at Hockenheim, and then he had a bit of a drought, a couple of podiums at Hungary. Then Spa and the Norris Ring didn't go well. Moscow, he got a couple of podiums, and now he's back on form here. So the form dipped mid-season. The results didn't quite come, but there he is at the top of the board. Fuoco, the winner.